hitting record.
All right, and then we'll just get started. And then, you're not going to edit it or anything? We're just going to kind of listen to it,
I mean,
kind of
I
thing.
can cut out whatever at the
This
beginning.
junk. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll
so
just cut out this
we're
stuff.
live, dude.
All right. All right, we'll get ready. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Hello and welcome to the Fighting Dirty Gaming Podcast. I'm Gary,
I'm Matt.
and today we're going to be talking about some board games, some video games, some Gen Con, and one of our new favorite games, Scythe. So, how's it going today, Bubba?
Oh, it's going really good, man. First day of grad school, had to work all day, and now I had to try to figure out how to get this shit running. So everything's just hitting on all cylinders. You know, I'm on that no sleep life for a while. What about
Oh, I
you?
know all about that. Yeah, dude. This week has been crazy. I started a new job. I'm also coaching a softball team. So, same thing, just busy, busy, busy. But we're taking the time today to actually do something really fun, something I've always wanted to do podcast.
Dude, we've been talking about this forever. So I mean, finally, I feel like I've got the technology and some semblance of knowledge to kind of pull this off.
Right.
So I mean, it is one of the reasons I bought the computer that I have was the idea that I'd be able to do this stuff and do it easily. So hopefully this all works out, and hopefully the levels and stuff aren't too ridiculous. But it'll be our first crack at it.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, maybe to jump the gun a little bit, at Gen Con, we went to a little seminar about podcasting and being creative and kind of got our juices flowing, didn't it?
Yeah, the do's and don'ts of gaming media. It was amazing. I mean, I kind of felt like I had to drag. I kind of felt like I was like, I really want to go to this, and you were kind of like, yeah, I'll go, you know. And then our other friends didn't want to go. I mean, our
Not
one
at
our
all.
one buddy showed up, but I was expecting when I was describing it to you, I was like, oh, dude, it's gonna be sold out, and they said there's gonna be 1,000 people there. I mean, it was like less, not even 100 people there, right? Like
Correct. Yeah.
probably not 50 people.
No.
So I thought it was great. Maybe it was because it was on Thursday, and that's why there wasn't as big a turnout because people were so obsessed about ravaging that hall, and it was during like peak hall time, the exhibition hall. So I think we just lucked out, and it was really cool, and I got a lot out of it. I felt like they gave me some really good tips and ideas, and we kind of tried a quick run, and I didn't have a mic, so it was not working, but now we got a mic, and so I don't know. There's a lot to learn still, so I'm just
Yeah.
excited, and I felt that those guys were able to give us some really good tips and insight and where they messed up.
Yeah, and thankfully we did it on Thursday, or went to that seminar on Thursday too, when we weren't wore down and tired. Because by Friday night, Saturday morning, I was starting to really drag ass there.
Oh yeah, man, we were faded hard. We did a lot of walking though, and I mean, our Gen Con experience is unlike many people's, and we can
Uh,
definitely jump into that if you want, or yeah,
sure, let's talk about
so
Gen
I
Con.
mean, Gen Con 2016 was an overall amazing event. It was my eighth. We've gone together 8 years in a row, and you went well before that, but they were able to pretty much maintain attendance at Gen Con, which I mean, if you're listening to this, you probably know what Gen Con is, which is just a giant gaming convention in Indianapolis, Indiana, and it's at a massive convention center that is just prime time located between hotels, eateries, bars, event centers, concert stadiums. It's just insane where it's located and how it's all connected, and it's
Yeah,
just
really,
it's
it's in a great spot. That's where they had the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and the NFL was more than happy to have it there because of the location of just everything. Everything's perfectly central. It's an awesome city. I love going. I think that's half the fun.
Oh yeah, and I mean pretty much maintained overall attendance, but increased the turnstiles. And we were kind of just bullshitting about this earlier, but I mean the turnstiles is a big thing because a lot of times their attendance would be that of the same as Essen or these other or well beyond that of other conventions in the United States, but they would lack there. Where so I mean Essen will be in a few months, and they can compare those numbers. But their turnstiles at Gen Con were up, which means that people stayed longer, which is great because I mean we go down on Wednesday because we're just so close to. We just happen to be very close to where Gen Con is. It's just one
Right.
perk of living in Indiana is that we're just really close to where Gen Con is. So it's just something to go to, and we just have it a lot more convenient than most people, so we can really stretch it out and make it last as long or as short as we need to. So I know some
Right.
years we've gone for a long time, and other years we've I've bolted early, showed up late and bolted early, just,
Yeah.
things come up and whatnot. But
So let's
they,
talk a little bit about that. I mean, it's Gen Con. It's the best 4 days in gaming, right? Thursday through Sunday. But no. They've really started having events on Wednesday. One thing that we've started annually going to is the Sun King event. It's the Sun King Brewery in Indianapolis, and they always have a special beer every year. I think they had the Froth of Con. What was the other one? The Live Long and Prosper
ale,
beer.
yeah.
Yeah, the ale, Live Long and Prosper ale.
This
And the
year
previous
was
2 years, they weren't very good beers, were they?
I like craft beer, and I've not liked those beers, and I like Sun King, but everyone's different, so
But
I'm not gonna shit too hard on it.
no, this year it was the 20-sided rye, and I actually really really like this beer. I know you were kind of meh on it,
I
but
didn't
I
hate it.
I enjoyed it. You
It's
didn't
just
hate it?
I'm not a big rye guy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like I said, it's like I like craft beer, but I also I have things that I don't like about craft beer. I'm not a huge stout guy, so if I drink, I'll drink one, and then I'll switch to something that I like.
But this one, hands down, has been the best thus far. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, yeah,
This one, I believe, like you actually drank multiple of or actually
yeah.
enjoyed. But
Oh no, and I like a lot of their other beers. That's the thing. So I enjoy the
yeah,
vent because Indiana. If people have never been to Indiana, one thing they actually do have is really good breweries, and the Sun King Brewery is one of those breweries in Indianapolis, and they have some really good quality beers that
yeah,
are available at every place. And this just happens to be a sweet event on Georgia Street, which in Indianapolis people will know that there's basically a street that they kind of built and concocted that they're able to shut down whenever they want, and they have seating right there in the street, and it doesn't even look like a street anymore. It looks like it's been very gentrified. It's
yeah.
very sexy. It's like they closed it
It's
down for the
fantastic.
Super Bowl and had concerts at both ends of the Georgia Street. So this is something they do for big events, and this is
Right.
Gen Con happens to be one of the
A
biggest
very big event.
one of the
To kind of
biggest
set
money
the
makers.
to kind of set the scene a little bit, the Sun King Brewery will be like right on that street. They'll set up a giant tent. They kind of fence everything off. You have to show your ID to get in. You go in, you can order beers. They're moderately priced, maybe a little on the higher side. Maybe they're not terrible, but you
I
go in
think it's
there.
more than fair. I mean, $5.
Yeah, and you get a pint or whatever it
Hmm.
is, and they put up a tent. They have bands play. It's a good time. You go there if you can go there and just relax and have fun. We have friends that don't want to have fun. It's a great time. I mean, you and I just were sitting there and just having a
Dude,
blast. I mean,
I could pack a lawn chair and sit out there for like 4 hours next year
yeah,
if people wanted to do that, and we could just take an Uber
right,
back, like
right.
But
So
I get down like that.
so
Um,
one of the other things was, did you have something else you wanted to add to that?
no,
The
I
Sun
just
King.
saying Wednesday night for those if anyone ever goes down and travels, and that was probably really loud in your ears because I kind of blasted it, but
It's all good.
it's a great night to plan a nice dinner with your friends, and that's something that we do. So if you're ever like you go down there, and because Wednesday night people who are there are usually going to stand in line at the will call to pick up their ticket, and that line is now grown to be like a monstrosity of a line that I heard this year at one point was like a mile long. It rolled all the way back into the JW Marriott, and
It's
to
insane.
those who don't know, that is like it's a hike, man. It's not. And for a lot of people who are gamers, that is probably a big hike for some of them, okay? So, like, a person who's fit, it's a brisk walk for those. Otherwise, it's a long walk to the JW Marriott.
There
And this,
was a lot of sweaty ass dudes.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And it was really hot and muggy. So on top of it all, on the first day, on Wednesday, I already was catching a whiff of some stuff I wasn't liking, and then Thursday and Friday, and then it just progressively, you know how it gets.
So,
Um,
you want to talk about the restaurant we went to? This is something that I think we've started to make something we do annually. So,
Yeah, we went to Harry and Izzy's restaurant, and there probably some other name to it all, but it's attached to the St. Omo's Grill, which is
it's
like
the
one of the.
sister restaurant.
Yeah, they're like attached in the same building. They share a couple items on the menu. It's a really upscale kind of place. It's a place where you can get the $90 lobster tail, or you can get like we got like a $15 pizza and calamari and finger foods and whatnot. And you're gonna. It's not eating at McDonald's. It's fine dining,
No,
but it's also like it can be very reasonable. And if it's just something you want to do on one of those nights while you're there, you can totally reserve, a table there, and
We
they'll
walked in and went to
accommodate
the
you.
bar this year, though.
Yeah, we didn't have a reservation, but there was seating in the bar, and it wasn't crowded or anything. We could have sat outside, but it just happened to be like 100 degrees outside.
Right.
Last year it was nice.
Yeah, and I gotta say, man, when we go there, the food is delicious. I mean, it's moderately priced and it's fantastic. I mean, those pizzas are amazing.
Yeah, we had a prime rib pizza.
Yeah, I've never had anything like that. We had that 2 years ago, and I was like, "This is the best pizza I've ever had." And this year we ordered, I think we had two pizzas, two orders of calamari, a bunch of beer. I mean, I was stuffed. Like I was walking out, and I was like, I think we all said I could take a nap right now. I
Right.
seriously gorged myself, but that's how good it is. I mean, I try to eat pretty healthily throughout the year, but I go to Gen Con to eat and have fun, and we did.
I know, and I went on vacation prior to Gen Con. I was in San Diego to visit a friend, and I was just like eating nonstop, drinking nonstop because I mean I live in Indiana, and California is nothing like Indiana. It is. Oh, it's so nice. It's heaven, man. It's a
Yeah,
play.
you
It's a
messaged me
play.
that day before, and you were like, dude, I think I'm gonna fast at Gen Con." I was like, "Motherfucker, you're not fasting at Gen Con because I am going to eat."
No, you said you misspelled feast.
Oh,
So
uh,
that was funny, and I mean
yeah.
I ate plenty at Gen Con, but
Oh,
there was times where I was just like I can't. My body is so wrecked from this long. I was on a long vacation and just it was great. It was so relaxing. I felt so relaxed going back to work, and it's been nice. You know what I mean? And 2 weeks back, and you're like, oh, that stress is starting to tingle right back up the spine. Oh yeah, there it is. But other than that,
it
that
was.
vacation was excellent, and so we picked our badges up, paid the extra money, and didn't stand in the line.
I
Um,
think paying the extra 20 is worth it. I gotta say. I
so
don't know,
either order and have
and
it
have a
shipped
meal.
to your house, pay
Yep.
the $10 to ship that badge for Gen Con, or be prepared. At sometimes you might have to stand in a line that's a mile long. On
All right.
Wednesday, Thursday, it's gonna be tough. Later in the afternoon, it's not that bad. Friday, same. I mean, it's the same. By Saturday, that line's not that much. People who are at Gen Con, you're gonna have some those last second people or those Indianapolis people who are just like, oh, let's go check it out for a day, or the
Yep.
surrounding area. But well, even a guy we met at an event Saturday, we'll talk about him. He rolled in just for that that day or
Yes,
something,
he did.
So Wednesday was great. Slept at your mom's house, which was lovely. I actually didn't sleep that well, but it was
I didn't
fine.
either.
Like the
So,
the anticipation makes things worse, so it
and
was
my
fine.
my animals, aka my kids, make it worse. So, anyways, moving past that, we'll go to Thursday. So we show up Thursday about half an hour before the doors open. Every year they have a little, just a little kind of intro. They'll go up, they'll set up a stage and say, "Hey, no running, don't go in here, don't trample people. Have a good time.
Hmm.
Tell the corniest ass jokes that you
Yeah,
can ever
terrible. They do a
imagine."
big dice roll.
Yeah. And so I don't even remember what that was. Like I don't care. I know some people get into that stuff. It's like a big tradition, and I don't care. Like it's super corny and it's hot and it starts to stink already because like I said, it was muggy. There's a bunch of big ass dudes there. So they open the door, we go in, and what did you go for first, Matt? Every year
All
everyone
right.
has a particular game they want to go for. So what was yours?
Well, I would like to comment on the Thursday thing.
Sure.
Thursday, many years ago, and I've been to several. I've also not showed up on Thursday a couple times, but now I always go on Thursday. And Thursday has grown to be one of the more chaotic days. It was not always like that. Thursday used to be the prime time day to be there. If you could be there Thursday when they open, you were in line to have choice selection of games. And that is not the case anymore. So when you go in there, you have to be prepared for heartbreak and have an ulterior plan immediately and know where that is, or you will get lost and be spinning in a circle because I've been that person before. So this year, the game I wanted to get was Cry Havoc. And you guys kind of talked me out of it saying there's no way you're going to get it. I was like, well, then I'm going for Scythe. And so I made a pretty good run at it. I was one of the first 40 people probably in that line. and they had a stack of them. Like literally to the point it was like, sweet, I'm gonna get a copy of this game. And so I was really happy, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? And it's like, nah, I've had the year where you definitely have some disappointment. So
Yeah. Yeah, so me personally, I had a couple games. This was a weird year. There's a lot of good games, but nothing like that was really like I had to have. Cry Havoc was up there. Scythe was for sure up there. There was a couple others, but actually I went for a game that it's actually already out. I just hadn't had the opportunity of getting it, but I like supporting this company. It was Plaid Hat Games' Dead of Winter expansion, The Long Night. So I went to that. I went to that booth and picked that up, and man, I love all their games. They Seafall sold out immediately. Seafall was one of the big games at Gen Con. It released there, and it was gone immediately. It's a legacy game by the guy who made Risk Legacy, Pandemic Legacy, and so this game was just gone immediately. If you don't know, Pandemic Legacy is the #1 game on Board Game Geek. That's how great of a designer this guy is. So he's made some very good games. So I picked that up. I met up with you, and we were pretty content. We got what we wanted, and then we kind of just walked around. Didn't really walk the entire hall. We just kind of went from booth to booth, kind of looking at some of the newer stuff that was there. There was actually some newer stuff, and I gotta say Thursday was super busy, but they expanded the hall, and it seemed like you could navigate a little easier since they moved a lot of the stuff around this year. They moved True Dungeon to Lucas Oil, and they opened up the exhibitor hall, and it felt like there was some giant aisles. You know what I mean? Like there was like, whoa, this aisle wasn't here last year. This is extra big. I can get through this. How'd you feel about it?
it was great. Everything about it was better. You definitely had more room to walk around. The lanes felt wider, and maybe it was just because it was spread out. Like it didn't like seem like they were that much wider, but it just didn't seem like traffic jam nonstop. Now there were plenty of times, peak hours in the exhibition hall. If you're in the wrong area at the wrong time, you're gonna get stuck in some stuff. So like Thursday, I was super excited that I snaked what I wanted to get, and from there, we rolled into the consignment shop.
Right.
And that happens to be one of my favorite things. There is it's just
Yes,
a
it
place
is.
where people sell used games, and I love to pillage through people's used crap, especially board games like that. And these are great designer hobby niche games. These are the creme de la creme games. Like years where I've been like, I should have just got that. Like one year, what was the game? Horus Heresy was there.
Horus Heresy.
Yeah, Horus Heresy was
Horus.
there, and
It was super cheap, and like we
and I
shit the
did,
bed.
and we shit the bed, and like
Well,
never
last year, what
never
did we
again.
get?
So
we got a great deal on a very out of print game that's very, very popular. We got StarCraft, the board game.
yeah, so you guys will, as you listeners of the Fighting Dirty Gaming podcast will realize we are best friends. We spend a lot of time together. We communicate often, and we also go in on board games together. So at an auction, it was like funny story because we thought we were going to be bidding against the guy who owns Troll and Toad Games because he's always in the auction and he's slinging cash like Scarface. All right,
If he wants a game, he's getting it.
he wants a game, he gets it. And I was like, we're gonna. And Gary goes, he's pointing at that StarCraft game, and I was like, is that a good game? He's like, yeah, that's a good game. I was like, okay, well, like let's look it up. So we, that's the glorious thing now because you have your phone there, you can price match that thing on the internet. And you're like, oh, it's going for, at least go for over 100 and stuff. You know what I mean? Like I don't even remember what the price was. So it was like, all right, well let's just say 100 and go from there. You know what I mean? So it's like. We end up winning it, but we weren't even bidding against the Troll and Toad guy, But it was like that was the idea. It was like we wanted to bid head to head with the guy from Troll and Toad, and we got it on a steal. $50 a piece. You get a copy of a game out of print. It's in perfect condition, already bagged. I mean, yeah, it wasn't in mint condition, sealed, but it's in great playing condition with no problems. Like
It's
tons
literally
of little
just
pieces.
below mint. It was in fantastic shape.
Yeah.
And funny story about that. We were walking down the hall with this thing, and Matt brought this roller, carrier, and we had it half sticking out because this is a big ass game, and people are like, "Whoa, nice buy!" Just like compliment us,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Yeah, I feel great, man. I did something awesome. I bought something at an auction." But yeah, we got a really good deal. I actually did we get it for 100 or like 95? It was something. Like, we couldn't believe we got it.
I thought it was 100, but
It may have been. It probably was.
No, but this year in the same auction hall, StarCraft, the board game, comes up, great condition with the expansion, $200 at the
Yep.
auction. And people cheered when we bought ours. People cheered when this guy bought his. Like,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of people bidding on it because it's an out of print game that people are now jacking, reskinning, you know, and everyone loves that kind of niche kind of game, that space attacking, exploration kind of shit game. It's
Yeah.
everyone's into that stuff. That's
For
why
sure.
Cry Havoc's that kind of just that universe. Like so
What did you pick up? What did you end up picking up? Did you get anything Thursday?
I got Scythe and
Oh, I'm sorry. At the consignment, did you pick it?
no, I
Okay.
didn't.
I did. I got something I've always wanted to get, and I found it. It was super cheap. I saw it, and I was like, I'm getting this finally. It was Memoir 44, and
Yeah.
you had gotten a copy last year, and it actually said everything was there, but it wasn't. That's the risk that you take when you buy from the consignment/auction.
Mm-hmm.
You just take the seller's word. It's kind of like eBay. There was actually Memoir 44 is a World War II game, and you were actually missing a bunch of tanks, weren't you?
Yeah, from one side, from one of the green armies, just missing a
Gone.
bunch of tanks. So I ended up buying an expansion at the auction,
To
just
fill
so
it.
I'd have two sets of tanks to play with. You
Right.
know,
So I saw mine there. It was $20. I picked it up immediately, and
I know, we were
couldn't have
right.
been happier.
We were rifling through that thing. I was like, open
Yes.
it. Yeah, you're like, I was like, yeah, open it up, count them tanks. Like,
Not getting burnt again on that. So.
oh yeah, I totally forgot
Yeah.
you got that great game, and now we can play side by side.
Yep.
I'll just bring my shit down, dude.
We'll make a
I'll
big
bring my
game.
shit down and leave it, and then you can have somebody swings by. You can always play a big game. Like,
Yeah. So we had a
Uh,
great Thursday. Great Thursday. That was pretty much it. I don't know if we played any games that night. I don't think we did we? I think we played Friday.
no, Thursday nights when we played a game of Salvation Road. We played a game of
Oh, okay.
Castles of Burgundy. We played a game of. Well, maybe that was all we played because I had to read that rule book, and we didn't get there till late.
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
played.
We do some drinking and stuff in between. So when it's like people go there, some people are just games. I go till I drop. Nah, man, we stop. We go eat. We have a drink. We got a couple spots we like to go to. You get to
Yeah.
know the bartender over the course of a few days. Maybe you call him the wrong name. Maybe you make a bet on that guy's name and lose $5, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the night, that bartender gives you a beer as you're walking out.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Man.
Cal.
God,
What up,
he's
Cal?
so
Sexy
goddamn-
hair.
God, he's a full head of
Yeah,
hair. Just,
son, just the
ass
thickest
that won't
coiffed hairdo. Oh,
God,
that
just-
28 waist, maybe,
my God,
dude.
My God.
Just all right. So
Moving on Friday. Friday was kind of our catch-all day. We wanted to.
people
basically
do
catch
need to
up.
understand that we stay up very late. So when we played, I said we played Salvation Road at Castle Burgundy. It was like 4 a.m, and they were like, "We hate you guys. Go home." So we go late into the night playing the games and then sleep in. And I don't feel pressured to wake up and be on some really tight schedule.
Right. So yeah, we're rolling back in at about. Well, this is kind of funny. So we have a big hotel, or we have a hotel room, and there's about 10 dudes in there. So our plan of attack is to stay up as late as we can because everyone gets up early and then they roll out in the morning. So we're like, we're gonna stay up late and we are going to go sleep on the beds by ourselves. Okay, everyone's rolled out. So we get to a point. I think it's Thursday night, and we're sitting in these two couches. And I fall asleep and Matt's talking to me and I wake up and I say, "What?" And you're like, you just start laughing. And then I look over at you and you're passed out and I'm like, "Matt," and you wake back up and we just kept falling asleep back and forth. We just couldn't stay up any longer.
Yeah.
So we decided to go back to the hotel and just sleep on the floor for like 2 hours, which is a nightmare in itself.
Yeah.
But we finally got in those beds and refreshed ourselves. So Friday morning, I feel like was like I said, our catch-all day. We came in. I think that's the day we walked the entire exhibit hall, right? We checked out
We
everything.
went through every lane of that thing. We had one goal, and that was to make a custom liar's dice set. So we had to accomplish that goal. And we really didn't complete that goal till Saturday, but we got part
Right.
of it on
Yeah. So
Friday.
that was actually helpful. Like when we rolled through Friday, like we kind of found, some stuff what we needed, and we weren't really finding anything, until I think Saturdays when we really found what we needed. So we walked through the entire exhibit hall, and that took, I swear, about 3 hours, maybe.
I mean,
It's a
it's a
long time.
massive hall, and it starts at lane 100 and it goes to
20
3,000.
plus. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It goes to 3,000. So, and you can go up and down each of those aisles. But some of those aisles you kind of get thrown off because there'll be a giant spot right in the middle for Fantasy Flight that takes up a bunch of space. So
Mhm.
you kind of like, oh, did I miss something over there? And like we had to do some of that, and it was awesome though because it's every year I'm like, oh, I kind of wander it, and it's better to have you got to have some purpose when you're in there, or you will just wander,
Yeah.
and you'll
So
spin in
we
circles, and you'll miss things, and you'll never see stuff. And somebody will be like, did you see this? And you'll be like, nah. Well, how's it? Like how did I miss that?
And so yeah, we went up and down, and we stopped at, like, if something interests us, we stop. If it's something that we totally had no interest, we just kind of looked and walked by. And I always feel kind of bad. It's like someone's like, "Hey, you want to try this game?" And you're like, "Nope." And you either do the thing where you pretend you don't hear them and walk by, or you're just like, "No, thank you." I mean, I've tried over the years to just say, "No, thank you," and smile and walk on. But man, sometimes when a game is super cringy, you just gotta pretend you don't hear and just keep going. So our Friday was, I think we played some games Friday night. We went and played Dragon and Flagon that night, I believe. Was it?
That was Friday, and it was terrible.
Yeah, I didn't like Dragon and Flagon at all, and that was one of
The
like the
hype,
hype games there. And
and it's a
it's
it's a Stronghold game, and Stronghold came in like dick swinging at Gen Con.
yes,
Like
for
they
sure.
they came in, we got games, we got a bunch of them, and they're for sale
Yeah,
because we kind of hinted at it, but a lot of the stuff that you want, you can now not get at Gen Con unless you are kickstarting it or if you have a VIG and you can get in there and get one of those first 50 copies,
yeah,
and they do sell a couple copies to exhibitors and stuff like that. So like you got to factor that in. Like regular people who show up on Thursday, certain games you have no shot of getting before you walk in the door. So like Cry Havoc was not a game that I could get. Harry Potter is not a game you can get. Like
yeah.
Seafall, you are not getting. As I stood in line, I was on Twitter. Sorry, excuse me, and the guy had already posted a picture. 10:05 a.m. Seafall sold out, and it was like, what a joke,
5 minutes
But
in.
that's not what it's about. It's just about drumming up some hype, and that's what they did.
Seafall actually sold out before the doors even opened.
There
So
you
the
go.
the VIGs who went in there, which stands for Very Important Gamers, they pay about $500 for their ticket. They go in there, they buy as much as they can, and then they turn around a lot of times and sell it on eBay. And people buy it for 2 to 3 times what it,
Yeah.
MSRP. So I mean, they pay for those badges, but it just kind of sucks for the normal person that just wants to go there and pick up a new game that's not being released. So I mean, you get what you pay for. It's
hmm
unfortunately it's kind of stupid, but
And that's why you
meh.
gotta you gotta have a contingency plan. You gotta go
Yes.
in there. So like you just gotta be like, if you would have gotten that line, I mean, like, there's no chance I'm getting Scythe. I gotta make a beeline and try to get something else.
Correct.
Like you gotta know what that something else is, and you gotta know where it's at. And realistically, you gotta do your research. You can't go in there like a noob. You gotta know that Seafall's only got 50 copies, and realistically, if unless you're planning on buying another Plaid Hat game, you do not need to be in that line at 10 a.m.
Right.
But if you're not chasing these Gen Con release games only, then just go and walk that thing and have fun with it and buy
Right.
what you want, and that can be equally fun.
One thing I want to talk about I did Friday was I demoed the Arkham Horror LCG. This is all I talked about, and everyone's, I know I was kind of getting annoyed and probably annoying you guys. I was like, I want to go play this. You're like, hold on, let's go here, and I'm
No,
like, dude, I
I
gotta play
wanted to
this.
play, but like
Right.
couldn't get in, dude.
So we walked over there. It's by Fantasy Flight Games, and it was obviously packed over there. So when we got over there, I wanted to play with Matt or our friend Keith, but there was only one spot, and these two know how much I love the Arkham Horror games, the Eldritch Horror, and they're like, "Man, go ahead. That's all you." And so I sat down and played it. Had a great time, but felt god awful because it took about 40 minutes to
Some they let you play a whole game.
We played the whole game, and I gotta say, I'm getting this game day one. I'm going to play the crap out of it. I loved it, man.
Okay.
I love
Well,
those games.
You can show me how to play it. I was excited, but then we started formulating other plans and started to make some other moves, and things have to happen. I don't want to just like it's
Right.
not rude, but it's like I can't read the cards in your hand without hovering over your shoulder.
Correct.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of like, you play it, you say you like it, I'll trust you because honestly, like, I love those games too. So,
Yeah, for sure.
that will be a problem. I mean, we're not going to, like, there's not probably going to be a lot of contrast, but at times there's definitely some contrast between the games that we like to play and the types of games that we like to play.
Yes.
And so, but we just happen to really enjoy the experience of all the H.P. Lovecraft Mythos games. Like,
Yes.
that's just, we like that. So we're going to always be beating the drum for H.P. Lovecraft Mythos.
Yeah, just a quick side note on that. I remember the first time we played Arkham Horror, you picked it up, and we went out to your apartment. Or was Brandon living there at the time? I don't. You were living there, right? And Brandon came out also.
Well,
Yeah, it was your apartment.
I played it a couple times when it didn't go well. So
Oh,
you're talking
that's
about
right. The first time
the
we
scale,
played it, it
the
was a
scalular,
nightmare.
the nightmare horror. All right, that was a nightmare, and I apologize for that. But I read that rule book, and you read the rule book, which helped obviously.
Yeah.
And together we were able to finally put together the first game, and it was me, you, and Brandon in a
We
three-player.
played it correctly.
It
and
probably
it was-
took 7 hours, 5 hours.
And it was one of the best experiences I had ever had. The game took forever. We barely won. And I got to tell you, for a month after that, that's all that I thought about was that game. I was like, I can't wait to play again. I can't wait to play again. This game's awesome. It's one of my favorite games that I've ever played. And I seriously just thought about it. I was like, what if I did this or this or this, And by that time, when we had an opportunity to play again, Eldritch Horror kind of came out and kind of just took over for that. So, anyway, sorry to side note on that. Saturday night is always one of our funnest nights because we look forward to going to the Secret Cabal meetup. Every year we've went every year at Gen Con. This is kind of cool because I feel like a couple of the guys are kind of starting to recognize us. We walked up to one of the founders there, Tony Topper, and he's like, "Your name's Gary, right?" And I was like, "Holy crap! How does this guy remember my name?" You know what I mean? I didn't even have my badge on, so that was kind of cool. And we got pretty drunk that night. That was, man, that's kind of the goal there, is to kind of send Gen Con out with a bang there at the Secret Cabal meetup.
It's a fabulous event at an amazing setting. It happens to be one of the parts of Indianapolis that's been totally like gentrified for all the younger people who have a little bit of money, who have a little bit of, for better or worse, a little style, a little class, and it's a nice venue, but it actually was too small for what they had. They actually had to turn some people away. And so I would look for them to try to find probably a bigger location, and it's kind of hard to find a bar that's willing to let you put 500 people in there and all that stuff, because there ain't a lot of bars that are just going to let you get it out for that amount of time. That's peak time. Like they got some roadblocks there, but it was an amazing event with all kinds of industry people from all your favorite podcasts, all your favorite YouTube shows, all your favorite designers. They're all swinging by. They're all saying what's up. And you get to rub elbows with these people for a few hours, drink drinks together, drink shots together, and they give away prizes. And that's the big thing. A bunch of people show up, prizes are given out, a bunch of people bail, and then you have what's left, and those are like really some cool people you're going to meet and have you're going to enjoy your experience there with. And I don't know, I'm pretty outgoing in those situations and pretty good at meeting people at Gen Con, but I'm also good at being like, oh, red alert, like time to bail. You know what I mean?
We
Like,
had a couple of those guys kind of sitting by us this year, but hey, that's all right. It's always
yeah.
fun to meet new people.
Well, I
But
also don't mind messing with people for a little bit.
you're right. Yeah,
I'll get in on that just for the fun of it. I
but it
like.
definitely it definitely can go too far, and it gets pretty rough sometimes. But man, I got those guys put in a ton of work. I can't imagine trying to plan something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, man, those you know, props to those guys. Those guys do a lot of work, and they deserve all the success they get. So that kind of closed out our Gen Con. To be honest, we had my wife come get us from there after we kind of bar hopped after the Cabal meetup was finished, and we had a great time, man. That kind of closed down Gen Con, and I had fun. I don't think we played as many games as we wanted, but it's just one of those things where you and I get to spend like pretty much a whole week together. Like you said, we're best friends, and we've been friends since we were just little turds. And to anytime to be able to do that is always one of the that's my highlight pretty much. We could seriously not even be playing games if I get to spend the that time with you. That's my highlight. So it was
Oh
great.
yeah, man. I mean, but next year I'd like to play some more games. You know what I mean? But I had a really fun time, and we gotta get some different kind of accommodations going on, and I think we will, and that will kind of adjust things, and also like. If
Right.
we're gonna be guys that stay up late, we gotta have a couple other people who like doing that kind of stuff,
Right.
and that's just what it's about. So we realize this. We've gone for many years. I've had many different experiences there. I've had just amazing times though, and for anyone who might be listening, Gen Con, like if that's up your alley, if you're into these types of games, you're gonna want to go at some point. You're gonna want to go, and it's gonna cost you some money. And it is different than all these other conventions, all the little local ones, and you know
It's
there,
worth it.
none of
It's
them
worth your
are
money, and it's
close
worth
to
your
the
time.
size, though. You know what I mean? That's
Hmm.
I think what blows people away is there's like, look how many people are here, and that's the impressive part. Is we're talking 66,000 people
Right.
bought badges. That's
Go
impressive.
there. Go there with an open mind. Go there with the open mindedness to meet new people and to have fun. Don't try to do the same stuff on over. Look for new things. Look to meet new people. That's where it really gets interesting. Don't
Mm,
go there and try to have a bad time. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I don't think people mean to do that, but if you go there and you just look for the experiences, you'll find there. Just a quick side off. We were staying at this hotel, and we walked out and we met a couple guys just sitting around, and man, we just had a conversation with those two, and that was funny as all get out, man. Just two random dudes sitting around, and
Some
they were
pizza
having a good
delivery
time.
guys, man. Yeah, they're just hanging out outside the hotel.
Two of
So,
the
I
nicest
mean,
guys to meet, and that's one thing I got to say about Indianapolis. Awesome city because everyone's very nice, everyone's very open. It makes me proud to be a Hoosier because everyone's very receptive to Gen Con. People are coming out around from the entire world, and when our state, meets these people and treats them well, it just makes me proud to be a part of it. So
yeah, it's a growing community, and I think it'll continue to grow. It kind of went at an extreme, like if you're looking at it on a line graph, it took it at an extreme like upward angle. You know what I mean? Here
yeah,
recently, because if I'm comparing Gen Cons to 8 years ago, it's almost three times as big now as that size. It used to be in the lower 20,000s when I first went. Now you're in the 60,000s. That is like it's a pretty big jump, but I don't think it's going to continue to jump at that rate. I mean, this year was about the exact same attendance, a little lower than last year for badges sold. So, like, you could see a little plateau here, a little leeway here, a little leeway there, but not the big 20,000 more people are going to show up to Gen Con.
right,
But I could be wrong because what do I know? You know what I mean?
exactly.
But they
You
have
don't
planned
you don't
for
know
it
shit.
and expanded. I don't know, should I know that? They have expanded though, and like they have a lot of space to play with. That's the craziest part.
Yeah, expanding into Lucas Oil was kind of mind-boggling to me. It's like, whoa, they're using that entire stadium. What are they going to do next? Where are they going to go? And they did it. They found a way. So, great Gen Con, great Great experience, man. I loved it. So, um, let's move on from here. What I'd like to do now is kind of do a not a review, but maybe a quick look at the game Scythe. This is the game you picked up at Gen Con, and I'm gonna let you go ahead and kind of give a quick overview of what the game is, maybe in the setting, and we'll go from there.
Real quick, I was gonna tell this little story earlier, but I'll tell it right now. So I was in line to get the game, and then some dude with a big long beard came out and goes, "What's this game? What are you guys in line for?" And we're like, "We're in line for Scythe." And he's like, "Fuck, I want to get that game." And then he like goes walking up towards the front and then comes back our way and he's got a copy of the game. I go, "What the fuck? How'd you get a copy of the game?" He goes, "The guy just sold it to me." And I was like, "You cutting motherfucker." And he's like, "Yeah, I got plenty, I'm sorry." And I was just like, and it was nice because I was just bullshit with these guys. I was really happy. I was gonna get this copy of the game. I listened to a couple reviews. And I was like, "This sounds like an amazing game. I really want to play it." And so I was happy to get a copy of it. And I remember you guys like, "This game weighs 1,000 pounds."
It is heavy.
Well, it has a lot of components with
Sure
it, and
does.
so the game itself is a basically like an area control, resource management, and development kind of game. You have little workers on your board, you have your little character on your board, and you're able to create little mechs that can run around this board. And it's a 1920s Europa alternate universe setting where machines are kind of way advanced for the time, and people use them for many reasons to fight over territories, but also just for the threat of combat. And throughout the game, you're basically going to generate territories, you're going to build things on your board, they're going to help you unlock places on the board to go to, and you're going to use your robots, your mechs, to carry you around the board real quick and help your workers get to places so they can create more resources or even create more workers. And then you have your character who can have combat and also have encounters with the game that help you do a variety of things, and they give the game a little flavor. It gives you a little flavor text and a glimpse into the setting itself. And it's really the only kind of glimpse you have into it besides what you see on the board, which is beautiful. The components are amazing. The game itself is sexy. As soon as I opened it, I was like, I paid $85 for the game at Gen Con, and I was like, as long as I play this a few times, I got my money because it is just so nice, and all the pieces are so awesome. And that's before I even played the game. And then you play it, and it just has this incredible balance to it where you have these different factions that can do different things, but then you also have your little action board, and everyone's action board is different, and every time you play it, it's a possibility that it will be different. And so the game itself, I just love for that reason, that even though it kind of, you're always going to start off, if you're black, you're always going to start off in this area, but it doesn't always mean that your game will play the same way. And so it doesn't always give you that opportunity to be like, well, I know how to win this game already because I know how to do this. You know what I mean? Like, it gives, every time you need to look at your little board and see what do I need to upgrade first, or what's the best way to unlock how I can get more movement. And the game is just set up with such a variety that you should always, like, I mean, you could play the game 10 times and you'd be like, I still have 20 more times I could play this game before I feel like I would be exhausted with it. It is amazing. I have gotten destroyed playing this game, and I can't wait until I'm finally competitive at playing it. So that's Scythe, and I really, it's right in the top 10 of my favorite games right now. And I
Wow.
can't, like, and I look forward to playing it as much as possible. And I mean, the bigger the game is, the longer it takes, but I feel like now we've played 2 games. I played 3, like, I played a quick run through game so I could kind of really figure it out, and then we played a game, and then we played another game. I feel like this third game and beyond, we're going to really hit our stride, and the game will I think the game will really hit our stride with the game, and everything will go much more smooth because there is some analysis paralysis in this game, and you got to watch people, and you got to kind of guide people to make sure that they can, um, that they know what they're doing and they're not doing something wrong. And so, like, we can't wait to get to that point to where everyone knows what they're doing, they're enjoying it, and they don't have any more questions, and we're all kind of masters of this Scythe universe.
Yeah, I gotta say I really like this game. When you explained it, I don't know if you kind of noticed, but it just clicked when you explained all the rules. I was like, I get it. man, I get this game. I understand what I'm looking at. You did a really good job of explaining the rules, and I gotta say, it starts out kind of slow, and you it starts out kind of slow. You don't really have a lot of options early. You kind of you start out with two workers. You start out with your main character, and you really can only go so far. Okay, you have to move your pretty much your workers to kind of produce things, and once you produce things, that's when you get your engine going in your game. Okay, so it just takes a minute to get going. But once you get going, that's where all the options come in. I feel like Scythe is super, super opportunistic. Okay, the combat isn't, the combat isn't in depth. It's very, very easy, and it's like you have to look for your opportunities. Okay, whether it's someone who will go and kind of blow their load to use everything they have to go into combat, and then you can kind of swipe in and take advantage of that. Like we had an instance where I wasn't really baiting you into fighting me, but I knew that was an opportunity. I knew you were going to go and you could have taken that mech, and I knew that when you came to fight me there, that I had a way to get my guy right back there, and there's no way you would have been able to win that second combat. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah. So like, there's a lot.
Yeah,
of,
you're like,
I love this
cards?
game.
How many cards you got? You're like, how many cards? I go, I don't got any card. And you're like,
And I was like, yeah. So I just played the lowest combat card that's in the game, and I played that and won because I
Right.
knew that he had nothing else to give. So like I
had
gave up
no power.
my
I had no cards. I had no way.
Yeah.
I lose as long as you can power. Yeah.
Right, and I knew I could get my mech right back in there to get back into combat. So it's. I mean, I was kind of baiting it, kind of wasn't. I didn't think I wasn't sure whether you were gonna go there, but I knew if you did, I could always get it back. So, one
Well,
thing, like you
to
said,
kind of talk about that for a second, though, like there were points in the game where I was like, I was thinking like, all right, I got over here, but he's like really close to me right now. It's like the threat of combat fucks with you in this game. And like I got my worker over here, and the worker just needs to work, all right. But in this game, as soon as you bring a character over or a mech, your worker runs away because they don't want to get fucked up and they leave the resources behind. So I was like, well, I don't really want to generate any resources right here because he's just gonna come take them, and it's totally worth it. And I was like, it was just like and he kind of just like he probably wouldn't even have came over and took them, but the threat that he was just gonna come take my shit. And I don't know, it just kind of it fucks with you throughout the game, and so you got to decide when you're willing to lose some shit, when you're willing to take some shit, when you're willing to yeah.
what's interesting about the combat is it's very simple, but there is a downside and something that creates like balance in the combat is you have a popularity track. The more popular you are, the more points you're going to score. Whenever you scare away resource gatherers or the workers, you lose popularity. So this game, the first game we played, there wasn't a lot of combat. In this one, I made my mind up. I was like, I want to take advantage of combat because it wouldn't be in here if it wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a point where I literally needed one wood, and so I moved over to we had our friend Mark playing, and I went and took his worker. I took the popularity hit and got the resource that I needed that I wasn't generating, and I got it, and it was fantastic for me. It was worth the popularity hit. So you've got to manage whether you're going to take that popularity hit or whether you need resources or whether it's something that is worth doing. That's why I love this game. It's completely opportunistic. You don't have to have combat, but if you don't, someone's going to come have combat with you and they're going to steal your stuff. So you have to be prepared for it. So combat isn't the greatest in the game, but I like it. I like that it's very simple and it's opportunistic. I love the mechanics of the game. The game's very, very easy to play, but it's got so many options. I think that's where it confuses people because people get ahead of themselves. Like, oh, I need to do this, but I got to do this first, this, and that's where the AP comes from. You're like, oh my god, what do I do first?
Just do something. Just make a move. And you only have like 3 options. If you're
everyone gets hit with the AP bug, man. It's not something that just happens to certain people.
It was happening to me, dude. It happened to me throughout the whole night. I felt like I was just like, just making bad long decisions on every game. So yeah.
Your best, you got to look for your opportunities, find your best move, and that's where I think people get tied up. But Scythe is a great game. I can't wait to play it 20 more times. I love this game. lot of replayability. I'm glad you bought it. Like I know we were talking about, you're like, maybe I could sell it because it was going for double on eBay. But man, I'm very very happy you kept it. Great game. It's definitely up there with me. It might be top 10. It's I like it a lot. It lived up to the hype to me. This game, the hype was so magnificent that I was just like one of those things like, I don't know if it can hold up, but I love it. The components are great. The board's great. Easy to play, great mechanics. I love it. Can't wait to play more. So, um,
It's definitely one of those games that meets the hype, and that's not all that often. And I feel like I'm gonna chew into this game a bunch of times, and a lot of people are gonna enjoy this. People who like Euros are gonna enjoy this. People who like playing smash 'em up kind of games are gonna enjoy this. Not the game Smash Up, but like hack and slash, dungeon crawler kind of games. People are gonna like this because they're like, oh, I'll just run around fight stuff. Okay, well you're not gonna win, but at least you'll play the game. So you got somebody that's in the game. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna people from all kinds of different areas are gonna really enjoy this game.
great. So, we're going to go ahead and move on. This is a little segment that we will call the Quick Five. So, the Quick Five is basically an unofficial type of list, something that we're going to come up off the cuff. We didn't rehearse this. This is something that we may come up with five of our favorite games, and then a day later be like, oh, that's not my favorite game. This is my favorite game. But it's a talking segment, and I thought it was pretty cool. So, the Quick Five. Today's Quick Five is going to be games you want to play more of, but you haven't. So, do you want to start off, or would you like me to start
Are we gonna
off?
go back and forth?
We'll go back and forth, okay?
Okay,
So
and I didn't make a list, so freestyle.
yeah, these don't have to be in order. It's like number one isn't the most played. It's just 5 games. So I'll speak, you speak. We'll go back and forth. So
Well, God, I feel like I'm gonna be a Fantasy Flight stroker in this, but I'm gonna hit you up probably with a couple Fantasy Flight games throughout the night. But the first game that I would say that I'd like to play more of would be Battle Lore. I'd like to play more Battle Lore. I play it on my phone, but it's not the same as playing a person. And I would like to play it more, and I'd like to try the different factions. I'd like to see this game and chew into it more than what's available on my iPhone. Battle Lore.
that's hilarious because my number 5, my first game I was going to speak of was Battle Lore. I actually picked up a second copy this year at Gen Con. And I forgot to talk about that. I got that in the auction, very very cheap. I saved about $25, and I bought up a second copy so we can actually have tournaments. Like Matt and I want to play in tournaments, and Battlelore is a phenomenal game. Very easy to play, very fun. Tactics are medium or so, but I love the game, man. It's such a great. It's basically Memoir 44, but fantasy and magic. I love Battlelore. So number 4, I'm going to say XCOM. XCOM is a fantastic game, and I can't get anybody to play it. I love XCOM, man, and I love the stress of the game. I love how hard the game is, but my wife hates it. Whenever I mention it, people are like,
I love it, dude. We've only played it once, Like, I didn't even know what it was. I'm always behind on stuff. Like, I'm sorry, I jacked your shit, but I played the video game, and then I heard there was a board game, and I was super excited. We played it at Gen Con last year. I loved every minute of it. I just we haven't played it.
Right, and that's why it's on the list. I mean, I love this game, and I can't get anybody to play it. I'm at the point where this game will definitely suck to play with one player, but I want to play it so badly. I'm about to pull it out and play by myself.
Next time I'm up, let's play. We'll both play 2 characters, and we'll figure it out.
I would love nothing more than, man, to do that. So that's my number 4 is XCOM.
Oh god, the game is great. It uses the app so well. Like there's this app technology now. XCOM's Fantasy Flight, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, Fantasy Flight's on the cutting edge, man. They got this app technology now down. I hear the new Mansions of Madness app is insane. Like I want to play it. It wants to play it. All right, my number 4, Android Netrunner.
Ooh.
I want to play it, but I just haven't. And I've read through the rules. We've played it a couple times. I've looked online and built kind of similar decks, but I've just not played it. It never sucked me in like Magic did as a kid, or these other card games we played, these other LCGs. And it's got to be me because I know it's a great game. So I have I would like to buy more of the cards. I'd like to play the game a little more often, and I think it's a game that's worth it. And I've already spent money on it. You know, I got a little money in this game, and I just never really play it. So like, I'm just one of those. I'm turning into that guy, and I don't ever want to be that guy. So I need to play this game, and maybe that's something we could do because I know
Android
I know
Netrunner's fantastic. I have a
it.
lot of the cards, and I love that game. It's so good. All right. Number 3 is going to be. Oh, now we're getting to the nitty gritty here. Mine is going to be Dead of Winter. I love this game. I love Flat Hat, and I just got the expansion. So, man, I am balls deep in Dead of Winter. I cannot wait to play this expansion. The last couple times, we played Scythe, and I'm fine with that because Scythe is fantastic, but I'm just itching to get Dead of Winter on the board. I just can't wait. I love that game. It's a Crossroads game. Basically, there's a lot of there's some randomness to it. There's a lot of story to it. That's where I think a lot of people who don't like Dead of Winter can't get into like their characters and the story of the game. They can't see like, oh, this is something really funny that happened, or it's just something to them. So Dead of Winter is my number 3.
But it's such a great game. It's the best. It's the best zombie game. I'm sorry. Like, people love Zombicide and has millions of expansions. But Dead of Winter, I like it better. And I can't wait to play this expansion, and I'm sure we'll play that coming up. But Dead of Winter is a fabulous. It's a zombie game, but it's a survival game, and those games are amazing, and that genre itself is blowing up. We played Salvation Road, and I felt like it was a pretty heavy rip-off of Dead of Winter, but not as good.
Yeah.
It had some things that I enjoyed, but it just wasn't Dead of Winter. Number 3... There's just so many games that I don't play, and they're all Fantasy Flight, and I don't want to be the fucking Fantasy Flight guy, But it would have to be the Sentinels of the Multiverse, the board game. I've had it, I read it, and I've never played the stupid thing. So I gotta play more of it. So I don't even know if it's good. I've heard mixed. I love those card games. I think they're awesome, and it kind of goes along with my Gen Con story earlier. Like, when you have a contingency plan, you don't panic. And I felt like when I bought that game, I was like in that kind of tizzy, and I was like, oh, I gotta get one of these new games. I'll get Sentinels of the Multiverse, the board game, and I'll get this, and it was like, you know what? I haven't even played the fucking thing. So, and that thing's been out for over 2 years.
Yeah.
So that would be the game that I would like to play more of, but haven't.
All right.
And I wish I could give you a better review of it, but I can't.
Hey, can't review it unless you played it. And you know what? I'm unabashedly...
And I only did that because I have a Fantasy Flight one locked and loaded, but it has to be at least number 2 because my number 1's really good.
Okay, I wonder if your number 1's going to be my number 1. Then we'll find out. My number 2 is also a Fantasy Flight game. I'm sorry that I'm bringing it up, but it's Game of Thrones, the board game 2nd edition.
Oh, great game.
We played this game twice, and every time it takes about 4 or 5 hours, and it's been a blast every time.
And you're playing 7 players?
6 players is max.
6 players, yeah.
Yeah. So the diplomacy in the game is not a prerequisite, but if you don't, you're not going to win the game. You need to lie, cheat, steal, make deals. I love this game, man.
You have to look a buddy in the eye and then do the exact opposite of what you just said.
I have not won this game, but I've had a blast getting
I don't think I've
beat
ever
every
won.
time.
I've played it more than twice, but it's amazing, and of all the Game of Thrones stuff that's out, it's the best. To me, it's the best. The best of what they got so far, but I'm hoping that Cosmic Encounter game that they're coming out with, the
Game of Thrones one, yes.
Yes, that could be even better. The Cosmic Encounter setup has the perfect balance of that kind of diplomacy and attacking and forced attacking. I would hope they keep that kind of in. That kind of like you have to attack
I
certain,
hope so.
you know, that kind of stuff. Or that's when you can have your diplomacy. So
Yeah.
like, just that forced interaction to keep the game trucking along. So
Right. In the board game, you don't have to interact, but generally you're gonna eventually have to because to win the game you have to control five strongholds throughout the board, which you generally will own early on. So you have to control so many at the end of the game. So, man, great game. It takes a long time. You have to have a good group, but when you do, there's nothing like it. I love this game. So that's my number two, Game of Thrones Second Edition.
amazing game. My number two is going to be Chaos in the Old World.
Ooh, I totally forgot. That's
It's
a
a
great
it
game.
is beautiful. Um, the artwork is beautiful. And first, I'm not really into the 40K kind of universe. That's what it's from, right? The 40K
Yeah,
universe.
for sure. Yes.
And so I know nothing about that stuff. And when I think 40K, I think robots and whatnot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's just because I don't know that much about it and never really got into it. And when I saw the artwork for it, I was like, oh, this is so my shit. It's like a piece of flesh stretched out with big hooks
Yeah.
and a map drawn onto it. And then you have like
That's important.
sweet,
I didn't notice
just
that until you
this.
pointed it out. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and then you have like these little dials on there that do stuff, and then you look at your pieces, and you got these different figures, and they're all badass, and then you figure out what the game actually is. And I've only played it once, but it's a game I would play 100 times. So
Yeah, this
it
game
is a
like
game. If my number one wasn't good, then this would be my number one. So
yeah, this is the game. This is my favorite dudes on a board map. Like that genre is basically like Blood Rage, Cry Havoc, stuff like that. Chaos in the Old World came before Blood Rage. It's made by the same designer, Eric Lang, and it is my favorite. I love it. It's asymmetrical. Each guy plays different, whereas this everything's symmetrical. But this game is phenomenal. I actually painted the miniatures and have not played yet since painting them, so I can't wait till we get to do that. So that's Matt's number two, Chaos in the Old World. Fantastic game. All right, so number one, I'll let you go first. I'm very interested to see if it's the same game. I'm thinking that it is, which is this is funny because we haven't talked about this at all. So what's your number
well,
one?
game. Oh man, I'm getting some weird stuff with my mic. Games you want to play more of but haven't. Can that include games you've never played?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's Pandemic Legacy.
Ooh, I like that. So yeah, we plan on getting this and playing through it. We just haven't. I thought this was going to be one of mine, my number one, but it actually isn't.
Mm.
Pandemic Legacy, we have to get this game. I love Pandemic. It's a game that kind of really reinvigorated my board game love. So when Pandemic Legacy came out, it hit number one. Everyone was just going wild about it. I'm kind of ashamed we haven't got it and played it yet, to be honest.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong.
No, it'll always be there as long as it doesn't get spoiled, which it hasn't, thankfully. That's one thing about this hobby that I like is that people are pretty good about not spoiling stuff like that. Whereas, hey, you go to watch Game of Thrones on HBO, it's already been spoiled on Facebook and Twitter. So, Pandemic Legacy is a great pick. My number one is actually Descent. I've started multiple campaigns. I got to the end with you being the Overlord. We didn't quite make it. I've gotten to like one quest away from getting to to the end with another group and didn't do it. But they just released an app that will be the Overlord for you. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to play this game if it's just me. I'll be all four dudes. And just
I'm in, dude. Let's do it.
Let's finish it. Let's finally finish it because I
Second
have so many
edition.
expansions. Yep. And we need to finish this. So mine is Descent Second Edition. It's a great game. It's basically Diablo board game. You go around, you kill stuff, you get loot.
I thought about
you get
it, but
experience.
I couldn't have them all be Fantasy Flight.
I don't care. I love Fantasy Flight. I'm unabashed.
I know they make amazing games.
I think all mine were Fantasy Flight except for Dead of Winter. And,
Well, honestly, I could switch out Sentinels for Blood Rage, and I thought about it.
hey, that'd be
And
good.
Pandemic Legacy, I did think hard about Descent, but I left it off.
Hey, but that's our quick five. So we can't have quick six. So we'll always have more quick five topics to come. We can always add other games and stuff. So,
Well, I mean, you can always revisit the quick five.
we'll do more quick fives. We can always come back and do another one and put different games on. So, thanks for podcasting, Matt. This was a lot of fun. I gotta say, it wasn't. I hope it sounds good. I don't know what it sounds like yet. It's probably a lot of stuttering and stammering, but I had a great time. Thanks for podcasting, and thanks for listening to the Fighting Dirty Gaming Podcast. See you next time.